Hello and welcome to the Churros y Tácticas Podcast. Rolling the R's today because this closet culé here is absolutely ecstatic. Barcelona have won yet another Joan Gamper trophy. No club in the history of football has won as many Joan Gamper trophies as FC Barcelona. And so what a historic day. Barcelona beating up on some poor team from God knows where just because Dani Alves plays there. And then through Dani Alves, that was another trophy. Dani Alves throwing him in the air. That was another trophy you guys won. I lost count of the amount of trophies you guys have won this year.
Don't disrespect the club legend.
It's absolutely insane.
The most decorated player in the history of the game. Come on, show respects to Alves. Respects to Dani.
Can you not tell how happy I am for you guys? This is amazing. Okay. Historic feats all over. Real Madrid will never ever win
genuine
Joan Gamper trophy ever. Although unless you invite us,
of course, come over.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that. Funny enough, right before recording, before we started, I was thinking, wouldn't it be fun to have a Clasico Gamper? That one would be, we play our preseason friendlies anyway over in the US or God knows where else. So we might as well do one for the Gamper. It would be one for the books.
We could do home and away. Gamper at your guys' stadium and then Trofeo Bernabeu at our home.
Deal.
Why not? We don't have enough Clásicos in our lives. Why don't we just add a few more in there? And
I agree.
Just lose
Remember, there was a moment. There was a. Kiyan, I couldn't agree with you more. Here goes, consensus once again between Madridista and culé. Remember the time where we were actually complaining there were too many Clásicos, that marathon of Clásicos, that it actually felt saturated. It was. At the time, it was too much. After, there's a great documentary of about that marathon of Clásicos, and then you look back at it very fondly, of course. But at the time, did you feel that too? I just felt I was like, this is too much Clásico.
It's emotionally draining when you have to play a team like that, which is a rival, a worthy rival, and the stakes are that high. I feel this way about Barcelona, but I also feel this way a lot about Bayern Munich every time we play them. It's a high risk, high reward scenario because your heart goes through a lot. If you come out as the victor on the other side, it's worth it. But if you lose, it's highly draining. So more Clásicos. This is great Super League propaganda. More Clásicos, more games against Bayern, all this stuff that gives us heart palpitations. More of it. But no, I mean.
But the Liga, Champions League, Copa del Rey, then the other Champions League game.
The 18 days one.
Not in that order,
4
obviously.
and 18 days.
Yeah.
You're talking about that period, right? 4 and 18
exactly.
days. Yeah, 4 and 18 days.
It was a lot. Climax, basically.
That was the peak of it. It all culminated with Mourinho's Porqué speech, which is timeless and endless and will never die. And it was a crazy period. I still think it's probably the craziest period in the rivalry history. I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again. But that's its own podcast.
Kiyan, yes, it is. And before we continue, I just want to digress on this topic a little further because Twitter's been running wild as of late. It has been, in particular, when we talk about Barca, the current state. And I suppose this sort of is a good way to ease into this episode. A lot of stuff going on, obviously, behind the scenes. And there's a lot to be said. There's a lot being reported. And like I said, Kiyan, you and I, whenever we communicate, it is on here. Rarely do we communicate over WhatsApp, even that we need to be careful with, let's say. But the point I'm trying to make is that there's a lot of information out there. You and I, we don't get to discuss a lot of the information off air. Whenever we communicate, it is on air. And one thing I wanted to point out is because on the topic of Jose Mourinho, this is what I'm talking about. Some of the information that's currently being spread about what Jose said at the time when he was a coach at Inter de Milan was this whole like he's being wrongly quoted is what I'm trying to say. There's a quote going around being attributed to Jose Mourinho that is something along the lines of, for Madrid is more important to win titles. For Barca is more important to beat Madrid. They are, taught to hate Madrid, and being anti-Madridista is basically more of an achievement for culés. First of all, both that quote and it falls, as well as what that quote is trying to insinuate. I mean, don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. For all culés and Barca fans, at least the ones that surround me, we take a lot more pride and happiness in winning titles. And if anything in that sense, of course, inch our way closer each and every single time to the amount of trophies that Madrid have. So yes, of course, we're in direct competition with Madrid, as they are our fiercest and most bitter rival. And that rivalry, I think it's good. And I want to, continue to foment that with, I don't want to say not hate, which is what this quote was implicating, but, everything that entails a good, healthy rivalry. So, and that is making eternal comparisons, for me at least. That's not to say that beating Madrid will be a trophy, which is what the quote was trying to insinuate, and basically saying that for a Barca fan, it is more important to hate, to be anti-Madridista and to beat Real Madrid than to win titles. And that is just false. It ties in with what we talked about in the last podcast as well, Kiyan. And there's this quote going around now in reference to a lot of I'm going to stop it there.
Are you saying that the Mourinho quote is inaccurate? He didn't say that?
It is inaccurate. He didn't say that. And if you want, I can pull up the quote.
No, that's interesting. I mean, to be honest, I'll take your word for it, mostly because I've never actually seen him say it myself, and I've only seen the social media quote circulate, right, where it's like the Twitter graphic, and it's the quote, and it's Mourinho's face, and then you see that same quote, and I've only probably seen it on Real Madrid fan pages, and I don't know if I've actually seen him say it.
So the one I'm talking about.
I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, I've never actually seen him say it. Having said that, I'm also just on air right now, and I don't really have time to look it up. So I'll trust you either way. So if it's true that he did say it, then woe on you. And if he did not say it, then I'll take your word for it because I don't have time to look it up. But I will say I have never actually seen it from an official source or like a legitimate newspaper or something like that. I've only seen it on Real Madrid fan pages. So that's fine to get that out of the way if you wanted to get that off your chest.
He talks about the dream, how like for Barca it's an obsession, to reach the Champions League final, and so of course to win in the Bernabeu. And he talks about the how it's not a dream, an obsession to win in the Bernabeu, and how in I believe it was it 96 or 97 where we beat Betis in a great Copa del Rey final, by the way, in extra time. I think it was Pizzi who scored the winner. I'm not 100% sure. 3-2. And yeah, we it was a great moment for us to celebrate and bust out Catalan flags in the Bernabeu, which certainly was symbolic. And here the El Himno del Barça being, played in the Bernabeu was certainly added to the flair and the excitement. And again, to talk about the rivalry, you kind of feel like you're in a way conquering or taking away just a memorable moment, hoisting your flag in the eternal rival stadium. If that for me is normal competition, especially amongst the two biggest football clubs in the world. Again, adding on to that rivalry. But in no point in time did he say they have no dream and their only dream is to hate, to be anti-Madridista. That is inaccurate.
Yeah, but that doesn't need a quote. That just is apparent for everyone to see. By the way, the Barca Betis thing is something that you won't see.
No.
You won't see anymore because now they basically decide the Copa del Rey final after they see who's playing in the final, and so they kind of avoid that situation to begin with. And of course,
right.
Real Madrid will just like clockwork be eliminated by FC Alcorcon or FC Diego Lorijn's club team in the round of 16, so that won't even matter next year or any year for that matter. But you gotta love Barca fans singing Madrid Cabron Salud al Campeón at Lewandowski's presentation, which was just fantastic PR. It's just great for the Real Madrid propaganda of you guys are obsessed with us after we won the title and you haven't won anything yet. But yeah,
why that happens, I don't know. I really don't.
There's bad bunches in every fan base. But what are we talking about today? It's one of those scenarios where it's like, where do you start? Where do you start? Yesterday was a whirlwind of Barca news. You know what annoyed me today? I'm going to be I like to get something off my chest. Today, there was that whole thing from a Barcelona journalist who's pretty reliable with Barcelona stuff, breaking that. Now, from what I understand, he himself actually was misquoted. I could be wrong on this, but from the limited that I understand from what's going on in Barcelona, this Barcelona journalist came out and said, Barcelona and Manchester City have agreed to personal terms for Bernardo Silva, 50 to 55, 60 million, whatever it is, less than a lot of people thought. And a lot of Barca pages ran away with it. From what I understand, he didn't actually say anything like that. What he actually said was that Barcelona feel like that he could get the deal done at that price. Since then, a few hours passed since he reported that, and basically every single reliable Manchester City journalist came out and said, no, it's not happening, like right away. So it was clear to me that almost like City just pumped the news to these journalists and said, push this out, it's not happening. Whatever the case may be, I'm so tired of this stuff. I'm just tired, man. I'm exhausted. And people can't wait for a few hours or at least to the end of the day before jumping in on this crazy hysteria. It's just hysteria. It just blows up. And as someone who just loves talking about football, I'm so exhausted by all this transfer stuff and all this, the aggregators who take all this information, they run up all these massive accounts and often misquote certain journalists and other journalists get mad at it. You've seen it, Diego. Remember the one in The Athletic last week, he had to clarify. I don't remember what the situation was, but you talked about it on the podcast. I'm just so over the hysteria. I'm so excited to just talk about football again. And tomorrow Real Madrid play.
That was a fee.
Yeah, agent fee or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to get that off my chest. I'm a little bit exhausted by the transfer hysteria.
Well, that's good. Moving on.
That's it?
Kiyan, I mean, look, man, you're an old man yelling at the sky right now.
I've become what
you're an
I
old
hate.
man yelling at, that's an even older man telling you that. Like this is not going away, my friend. This has been like this for years. If anything, it's just going to get worse.
It's going to get worse because social media is bigger than ever.
And it's going to continue to get bigger. Exactly. I mean, wait for the TikToks and the next apps to also get involved in it. And here is this player doing a dance with this football jersey on. What is he hinting at? That's a question I've always wanted to ask Robert Lewandowski, talking about subtle signs. You know that when he was celebrating winning the German double, and all the players in commemorating all of the previous seasons. I don't know what the occasion was, but each player was wearing a different jersey from a different era in commemoration of I think maybe last time that I don't know what the fuck it was. Okay, I'll be honest. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea what's going on right now. The story.
Everybody in Munich, come on,
out of control.
When Robert Lewandowski came out, pay attention. Robert Lewandowski came out. You know where they celebrate the titles in Munich, right? They come out in the balcony of the local municipal building. Yes or no?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
All the players were wearing like vintage shirts from previous seasons. Does this image sound familiar to you? It just happened. No. Okay. So this whole anecdote like blew by you. You weren't aware of it. But at the time, earlier this summer, when the German leagues were done, all competitive competitions were finished, Bayern Munich went to celebrate their trophies with their fans. All of the players were dressed in these, again, vintage shirts from previous seasons. And Robert Lewandowski chose the one, which season was it? 2000, I don't know. I think it was 6 or 7. It was basically the Barca jersey. It was the blue and red stripes down.
That I remember, yeah. But it was just the Bayern. Right. It was literally still the Bayern jersey, but it just looked like a Barca jersey.
Yes, but he was the only one with this one right behind me, basically, except for the white collar. For those watching the video, it was the one that looked exactly like that. And there it was like, it's just like he wants to sign for Barca because there was already the rumor that he had been like heard in a dressing room going Barcelona, talking in Polish, and the name Barcelona, Barca was going around the dressing room, and all the players were like, oh, what's going on? Why is he saying Barca the whole time? And these are all things that were reported in the newspaper at the time. Then he came out wearing a jersey, and basically it was like things started spreading like wildfire. Why am I bringing this up? I'm saying this because of the whole social media thing, and players, making subtle signs and using different social media platforms, or journalists going nuts on different social media platforms. It's going to happen. These stories are going to catch fire. They're going to be misquoted, misinterpreted. They will, be skewed, and people will run away with it for clicks. I mean, it's just, like I said, we're old men yelling at the sky. I don't see this stopping. And every transfer window will just get crazier, man. It will get crazier with time.
You're right. And there's nothing we can do. There's no solution. We just gotta focus on our fans and just do what we believe is good work. All right. With that being said, I know what you're doing. Also, you're telling the Lewandowski story, really, even if subconsciously, just to avoid talking about some things that maybe you don't want to talk about, or maybe you do. I don't know, but certainly I don't think yesterday you were going to talk about it. Another
the
weird
Gamper. I'm happy to talk about it.
Another weird podcast where I just feel like it's going to be you that has to listen and me that has to talk, because it's just something that you're not allowed to talk about unless you want to wait till Friday. Patreon.com/Churros y Tácticas to get some more unfiltered thoughts from Diego. But ignoring the report from Cope, which is its own beast and its own shocking things that are happening there, if true. The Frankie thing is weird in all this, because Frankie and Braithwaite are kind of in a similar position. Obviously, Frankie gets more spotlight because he's the better player, he's the bigger star. But the idea of asking him to rescind his contract to the one that was previously given to him in 2020, and then vilifying him for not accepting, is absurd to me. So I just wanted to say that. And I think both him and Braithwaite are well within their rights to just get what they're owed and not budge on that. So I just wanted to say that. I think that's completely fair. A face tells 1,000 words. Look at that, bottled up inside. You feel the rage, the anger, either at Laporta or me. I'm not sure which one, but it is what it is. I said what I said, and I think it's completely fair. Certainly, whatever you want.
I tell you what. Mm-hmm. Well, my best interest is for my club. My best interest, I want what's best for this crest that is imprinted here on my chest. It is hanging over my head. And the crest that I love and has represented me has been part of my identity, since early as the age of 9, more concretely, probably 11, 12. Since my mother was born here in this city of Barcelona, this beautiful city, and since I am also half Dutch, and that being a perfect combination for me at that time when Cruyff, as a coach, made this club, like I said, more than a passion, more than something that I just casually follow or am a fan of. It became part of my identity, and I grew up with it, holding it very dear to my heart, always following it every step of the way. I don't care that much for football. I don't care that much for many things. It's a passion. It's part of my heart. I follow Barca. I'm a Barca fan, and I will defend this crest with everything that I have, and that's my best interest. This crest goes above anything or anyone, whether that's on the pitch or off the pitch. I love Barca, and I want us to be prosperous, to be successful, to play the football that I fell in love with growing up, to have these idols and stars play for the club that I grew up, that I watched growing up. And there have been many. And Barca's history is great, and our future, I hope, will continue to be great. And I'm sure it will. I mean, if you ask me, I can't think of a world without Barca and us not continuing to be great and become or continue to be part of the most important and elite football institutions in the world.
I think that's fine to have that perspective. There's absolutely nothing wrong with what your stance is there, and I know what you're getting at, and I actually think there's nothing wrong with players like Piqué and Busquets coming forward, possibly even Ter Stegen, to say, hey, look, okay, I'll do this, I'll defer my wages or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that side of things if they want to do that. There's also absolutely nothing wrong with Frenkie De Jong saying, well, I signed the contract, and I signed that contract because of what that contract was, and that is what it is. So if that's the case, then that's not my problem, and it's not my fault. You can blame that on the previous regime if you want, or whoever, but that's not my fault. And asking me to go back to those wages that I had before I agreed to this is not fair, and nor is it also right to then vilify me in the press and make me look like the bad guy because I refuse to go back to an agreement that was in place before I signed this agreement. So I just want to put that out there. I think there's nothing wrong with coming forward and deferring wages if you want to help the club, but there's also nothing wrong with.
So there's two things. You talk about deferring wages and also reduction of wages, right? And there have been both. Mm-hmm. Some players have deferred, other players have had deductions, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the whole Bartomeu saga that is the main reason why Barca is in the situation that it is, why there is this predicament between club and player. Because
not Frankie's fault.
What was it? 3? No, not Frankie's fault. But 3 or 5 days, I think it was, or 7 days before leaving, Bartomeu quickly arranged these contract renewals, these modifications of the contract, or contract renewals between the club captains or the team captains and Frenkie De Jong. I think that there were modifications. I think in the case of Ter Stegen, it was actually like a contract extension. In any case, clearly trying to salvage his own ass and leaving a very dirty road ahead for his predecessor, aka Joan Laporta. So, and knowing that he would have an absolute, shamble of a financial situation at his hands and to solve. We are in a bad situation and we're trying to climb our way out of it. Right now, the team's best player and biggest star is on reportedly a wage that I would see and deem as reasonable given our current structure and our current situation. And I commend players that are not deferring their wages, but reducing their wages and adjusting themselves to the current needs of the club and not continuing to jeopardize the future of this club. I will never forgive Bartomeu for what he's done. I think he's been an absolute cancer. And I don't care how nice of a person he is, which apparently he is. I would just ask him, how in your good conscience could you have left this institution that supposedly you love and you had the honor to become president of in this kind of situation, regardless of, you know, your beef, let's say, rawly put, with Joan Laporta, who we all suspected would become president, between him and Victor Font anyway. Like, why? Are you Perico? Are you a Madridista? What? We know you played basketball for Espanyol. Is this just all part of, you know, you joked about it, Kiyan, and a few podcasts ago, that Bartomeu was just a puppet of Perez, right? Is this conspiracy theory true? I mean, you have to ask yourself some questions here with Bartomeu. Why, man?
Yeah, and all that is fair, but I feel like it's a different discussion altogether than what we're saying now. So that's done. What is done is done. And so to vilify Frankie for not accepting those terms that Piqué and Busquets are, who quite frankly are on their way out of the club very soon. And Frankie vilify, already
how vilify? It's easy to throw these terms. Vilify this player. How has he been vilified? Besides social media and Twitter, which is a fucking cancer in and of itself, okay?
Mm-hmm. Well, because
in the press, you talk about the press was vilifying this player. I want to know exactly how. Besides just reporting on what is taking place behind the scenes, which is, yes, negotiations, business negotiations involving millions, which is bound to be nasty. We're asking, yes, a sign, let's say, you know, a sacrifice, let's say, or a gesture, let's say, from the player on our part as a club. And I'll say us because I like I said, I do defend the interest of the club. My passion is for Barca. When I say, you know, I don't care much for football, what I mean to say is that, you know, I'm very passionate about following for Barca. Yes, that's the football I watch. That and the Dutch national side, you know. I mean, for me, basketball, and I'm sorry for digressing, but you talk about, you know, a game that I enjoy watching from beginning to end. This is not the first time that we talk about this, but that for me is a game. Like, that for me has got flair. That for me has got, you know, unless Barca or unless football is played the way that I've grown up and the way I've been privy to when watching Barca, which is a beautiful style of football, which I enjoy watching a lot. And I don't see that a lot in other teams. So that's why I just want to make that clear when I say I don't care much for football, because Barca is the kind of football that I like to watch in its greatest expression. And I digress. Go, please.
I mean, I don't get that part, to be honest, because I don't understand the obsession with that. Yeah, because
you have a bigger love for football. You love football in a much more general kind of way. Like, you can watch a Derby versus Everton. Like, that doesn't make me warm inside. I prefer to spend time with my kids.
Okay, that's fine. I don't know, like, this conversation is all over the place. Let me ask you this, just trying to bring this back. How long do you think Barcelona knew about this shady thing that Bartomeu did with these contracts before he left?
I have no idea.
Would you say a few days, a week, or a summer, or a year?
I know where you're going with this. I cannot speak for those, you know, in charge here. Look,
here's the reality. Barcelona are in this situation now, as we found out in great detail yesterday in particular, but we kind of had some hints at it for a few days, that they're going to be about 150 million short than they initially planned because of some, let's say, accounting tricks, to put it politely, that La Liga rejected. And now that they've realized that their initial plan didn't work, all of these stories start to come out all of a sudden that Frankie's contract is skewed and he's the only one not accepting to go back to the previous thing. To me, that's where the vilification comes from. And you keep saying,
but maybe that's also the truth.
And you keep saying, Diego, that we, in quote we, like as in Barca, that you say, that you guys needed to. You're in this desperate financial situation that you needed to get yourself out of. So you're asking Frankie to reduce his wages. Meanwhile, you're spending money like crazy when you don't need to, when you've reported historic losses, the greatest in the history of the sport. If you're really in that desperate of a financial situation, Why not to spend the money that you don't have instead of asking Frenkie to reduce his salary? That's where I'm getting at. And then all of a sudden he's the bad guy for all this. It makes
listen,
I know
what you're saying.
Listen, okay, Diego. So you gave the perspective of the fan, Diego the fan, and nice view of your foot there for a second. It's better. I'd rather look at the cat, but you gave the perspective of the fan that you would do anything to help the club in the future and preserving and all this. That's obviously commendable. Nothing wrong with that. But imagine also you had just a job and you sign a contract with your employer. You're super happy. You tell your family, "Hey, we got all this dough. We're gonna be living nice for the next few generations." And then all of a sudden, your boss changed. He comes in and says, "Diego, that contract you signed was bullshit. I'm gonna ask you to sign the old contract." How would you feel?
And then my boss says, "Vale." And then my boss says, "Dude, that contract was bullshit, or whatever you want. Whatever." That contract that you signed was illegal. It put the club in a serious situation, jeopardizing this future. Yeah, but you getting all this money that you're spending on different players. Yes, but we have to acquire those players to remain competitive. Plus, those players are coming while they could earn a bigger and better salary somewhere else. So they're adjusting to these salary needs that we now have put into place. These different, ranges of salary. We need you to come down and adjust, to these salary expectations or these salary ranges that we've put into place. You're earning so much, our offer, let's say, is we hope that you can go down and reduce your wage to so much. If not, here's an offer from a very competitive Premier League side that is in contention for winning the Champions League and Premier League. They're not only offering you the same amount of money here currently, but more. They're willing to even pay all the money that we still owe you from deferred wages. So do us a solid and accept that offer. It would be if you cannot adjust your current salary to fit the current mold now that this new board of directors are in place, then please think about this offer that is coming from also a very competitive club and a very even better competitive salary, if you will, from what you're earning now. How does that sound to you? For me, is like this vilifying. Like Frenkie is not in a very tough situation. If another club, another company is offering me millions, the same millions or even more millions than what I'm earning, look, man, if it's the same job somewhere else. I mean, he comes from Nederland. Hij is Hollander, okay? Hij heeft voor Ajax gespeeld. He played for Ajax. He's not born and bred from the city of Barcelona.
Oh, come on, man. No, now
what?
Your whole life you were saying Ajax and Barca, we're synonymous, and if you're from
well, we are. No. Dude,
so you're saying now you're questioning his Barca DNA and his Kool-Aid mentality just because he's not agreeing to that.
Kiyan, don't do this. Don't twist my words. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not questioning his commitment to the club or his willingness to be here. I'm saying that from a young age, he would have been looking up to Ajax, okay? Yes, maybe Barca would have been in his radar, but don't tell me it's the exact same thing as somebody that's actually born and raised from the city or like me has roots to this city, who is literally following this club since a young age. Dude, I'm not... How can you say that's not fair? I'm just saying that it is not the same. It is not the same.
Because
it is not the same.
Because there are... This is true also.
And don't say that I'm putting I'm questioning Frenkie's loyalty or willingness or let's say want or desire to play for this club. I know at the time also he sacrificed when he came over from Ajax to Barca. I know that PSG was offering more money. United, maybe Chelsea as well. I don't remember, but PSG in concrete. And he chose Barca, yes, because look, there's a clear connection between Holland and Barca, that I personify that, if anything, the best way possible. I'm half fucking Dutch and half Spanish from Catalonia. You understand? So but it's different if you are 100% Dutch and
it doesn't matter, man.
You might have gone on holiday. No, it does matter. It does matter because I'm not questioning Frenkie's loyalty to the club. What I'm saying is that it'll be different. It won't be like such a heartbreak for Frenkie to leave Barca as opposed to say a Busquets, if you're, I'm just throwing a name out there, somebody who was, born and bred here or from here from a very your early age, such as, let's say, a Leo Messi, who was here from 12, 13 years old. You got to make that distinction. Don't put words in my. I already get enough hate from all your fucking followers.
No, listen.
Have a field day with me, but like twisting words up. I don't need you to do the same thing, Kiyan. That's not what I said.
Man, what I'm saying is that it doesn't matter. You can, it's not fair to Frenkie to put him in a category of, he doesn't love the club as much as Busquets just because he's not doing this. What I'm saying is that, this goes true for Real Madrid, for example. There are kids who leave La Fabrica, they play with La Fabrica and then Castilla and then leave, when they're 21 and then talk shit about us for their whole career. And there are players from Croatia and Brazil who come at the age of mid-20s to late 20s and they become more Madridista than anyone out of those academies. I'm just saying it doesn't matter. And by all accounts, we know that Frenkie wanted to play at Barcelona. He still wants to play at Barcelona.
Yes.
And it's not fair to say to him, despite all of those things, the employer will tell him that you just said, if you do not accept this, you can go to this place and they're offering this. If your employer presented that to you, you are still, despite all those charming things that they said, you are still under no legal obligation to conform to what they're saying, because that's their problem. If their previous employer gave the contract, that's their problem. You're still not going to lose your money because of that. You made a decision.
Yes.
And
correct.
We can't just say
is right.
And we can't just say it's only about money or playing for the club. Maybe it's both. Maybe he doesn't want to earn more at Manchester United. Maybe he wants to earn the exact same that he's making now and play for his childhood dream club. I think that's a fair stance to have. Is one of my point. And
I get that, and I do. Listen, and I get that. If then again we're gonna go in a circle here, because then you're talking about let's say, your loyalty to the club, if you will, because you're talking about a player that is all he wants is to play at Barca, right?
Sure.
Is what you're saying. But then you're saying, okay, but then you want to play at Barca, but you want to earn that kind of money, and that kind of money, what you're earning right now is unrealistic with what we can give as a club in terms of salaries. We're trying to, because unfortunately we had a very bad president prior who handed out, week before fucking leaving, handed out ridiculous contracts that are no lo podemos asumir. We can't assume it. We just simply cannot afford that. Let's say, Kiyan, Managing Madrid was paying you 20 grand a month, which maybe they are, I don't know. But all of a sudden they're 19
grand.
All we can afford. Shit's gone really bad. Or you have to adjust to the $1,000 that we're paying each another, $1,000 that we're paying each another employee. The 20 grand that you're earning, it's way out of our scale, out of our means to pay that for you. I mean,
but I'm still good. If I say,
you're gonna say no. So you're gonna say no. I'm gonna hold on to that. I'm gonna suck you dry. And because I want to play here for Barca, and my contract and my my fee is 20 grand a month. Or
I know what I'm going to say, but that's not. I can't generalize what my opinion is on that to everyone, and I'm not going to vilify anyone who would say no. Not even F you. I'm going to just stick to my contract, but thanks for bringing it to my attention. So sorry that you're going through that, and hopefully you can sort it out, but I'm getting my money. That's a fair stance to take in that situation. But what I would say is, look.
It's a fair stance. People can disagree with that.
So here's two more perspectives I'd like to offer. Because the counter to what I'm saying is that, well, if Frenkie really loves the club, and he wants the club to reward him with a new contract, let's say 4 or 5 years. When does his contract end? I can't even remember. Do you know?
26, I believe it was.
Okay, so let's say if it's 26, let's say if Frenkie wants to be rewarded with a good contract in 2026 and prolong his Barcelona career, it might be wise for him to give in. That's one perspective, and there's another perspective to counter that, and that is, let's say Frenkie compromises on all this. What guarantee does he have that the club doesn't sell his ass in 4 or 5 years, remembering this whole thing? So I completely understand Frenkie's situation if he wants to.
But they cannot sell. I mean, they won't sell him unless he agrees to be sold. What do you mean? What guarantee?
Well, sure, but like,
or that they won't extend his contract? You mean?
Extend his contract, push him out of the team by not playing him, forcing him way out, or just lowballing an offer for a contract in the future. Just basically treating him like crap for the next like 4 or 5 years. Like what loyalty?
Why would that be in our interest? He's a great player. You want to get the best out of the players you have under your contract. Like he's not going to get He's not going to get a bad salary neither. Not all of a sudden going to put him on peanuts. I'm sorry. I don't really get the point. Like, why would it be in Barca's interest to then, let's say he reduces. So what you're saying, he reduces his wages. Mm-hmm. He stays at the club until 26, but for the remaining 4 seasons, Xavi is going to have him on the bench, play him in center back, and just ruin his career. That's what
I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say it's extreme one way or the other. But how many times have we seen players just not stop playing for their respective clubs at the peak of their powers? And then ultimately they just end up irrelevant at their club, and then they get sold. Like, this happened with Isco for us, for example. Like, yes. It's
yes, yeah.
I'm sure there are more examples, but off the top of my head, I'm not thinking of that many right now, I guess. But it's not uncommon for a club to just cast aside a player because he's not bought into the club's whatever philosophy or ideology. I'm just saying that Frankie has no guarantee of that, If he compromises and budges, what if he just doesn't have the same Barcelona career, even if he budges and he loses money and playing time? It's all on the table. Like, I completely understand the situation.
I just I hear you. I just don't know at the moment why Xavi would want to misuse a player with the qualities of Frenkie de Jong.
How many times have we seen him play center back so far?
Yeah, in the preseason a lot.
Why was he playing center back in the preseason? Hey, I guess it's not too fun for you, Frankie. Here, you'll be playing center back. You might as well go to Manchester United. Listen. It's there to see for me. It's clear. Now the center back thing didn't work. Now they got all these leaks coming out about, Frankie's contract is illegal, and look at all these saints: Piqué, Busquets, Ter Stegen coming back and saving the club some money. It's all intertwined to me. So I just want to say that. You want to listen to some beats?
Yeah, and there's. I want to listen to some beats. I will say one more thing. If you want to continue this topic on Friday, because there is definitely something I want to say about that.
All right, fair enough. So we're gonna release some tension here. We got a churros freestyle.
It's emotional, yeah. So yeah, I'll set this up. So as you guys, all you loyal listeners, you churros out there know, of late on the Monday, Tuesday pod, the free pod, we're dropping freestyles, and I've been doing little quote-unquote freestyles, little tracks, 1-minute tracks that I do in collaboration with producers, other beat makers, personal friends of mine, quite honestly. Faunosaur, M-Fun, aka Faunosaur, who you guys already know, and Intro Beats, who you know as well, my friend from Iceland. Very talented, both musicians or rap artists in the case of Faunosaur, but also, just terrific, prolific, if you will, beat makers. And particularly in the case of Intro Beats, I have an extreme pleasure to pass to you guys or share with you guys my passion, my rhyming, that is rapping and beat making as well, or working in this case with very talented musicians. So take a listen. Intro Beats is the name. In the description, you'll find the rest of the game, all of his links, where you can follow him, where you can listen to his fantastic music. So without any further ado, take a listen. And at the end of this pod, we'll drop you the instrumental.
All right. And I am about to listen to this for the first time. And that's my pledge to this whole thing, is that I'm going to listen to this for the first time on the podcast itself. I'm not going to listen to it before the podcast because I like to hear it for the first time and just react to it. And you guys watching on YouTube can see me react to it and you can see sometimes
Nice.
Diego reacting to his own music, or you can see the cat wagging his tail, whatever. So let's hit play on this. Diego, 3, 2, 1.
Intro beats. Bounce with it, baby. Goddamn, sound sexy shit. Tongue tippy toeing around. Tongue tippy toeing around. But that's for another day. Story time. Now here's a story about a man named me. Me bouncing in and out of different industries. Me was confused how to progress. Luckily, me family were loving and blessed. Yes, me was afraid, just a bit scared. Me knew that the talent that me had was rare. Me like to talk, me like to sing. Me felt the spark, me wanna do me thing. Me bounce around from town to town. Me lost and found, me upside frown. But many people didn't like to see me doing things for which me felt the need. Me tried to blend, me never offend. Me never claim nothing that wasn't earned on as me friend. Slick Rick and Big Donner on this jam. I'm signing off. Peace out to the Churros fam. Intro beats.
Fantastic as usual, Diego. Well done. Love it. Love it. It's great stuff.
You like that?
Love it. Yeah. You got the smooth,
Nice.
soothing voice for this stuff. It's a nice. It's a soothing,
Thank you,
easy
sir.
listen. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, the beat does a lot, and the beat sets the tone. But that one, I don't know if you followed it, but it's basically a little 1 minute, say, recap or the story of how the man named me got into this industry. I like this, man. I like it a lot, Kiyan. I got to tell you, for me, it's very soothing. It's a very fulfilling process, this writing rhymes, and I have realized that it's been too long that I didn't do it, and it's like I said, for me, it's a good mental exercise, but also just to connect with the passion, and which gives me a lot of peace and sanity, to be honest. So it's like I said, I don't know if everybody follows the story, but for me, it's good to put these kind of messages, personal messages out there, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. Intro beats.
Very
Check 'em
90s
out.
style, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
That's
well,
fair to
gotta
say.
be, man. That's my era.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
fair.
that's my era. I don't know anything else. Like, I just don't know anything else.
So, I wanted to just say, here's part of the reason I'm frustrated about this summer. I shouldn't be. I should be more calm and collected and remember that next June, I'll be able to just talk about Real Madrid's 15th Champions League title and all that stuff. So I should just... It's a marathon, not a race. But I guess I'm frustrated because... Okay, so to tie this into El Chiringuito, there's... has to be my favorite Twitter account now is the El Chiringuito in English Twitter account, which posts like some of the gold in English with subtitles.
See, you
in English.
motherfucker, you guys are new to El Chiringuito. This is just like now you're just opening your eyes. Oh, this is what's going on. This is what's being said. And I've had like, decade of when it was called Punto Pelota of material all stored in here. It used to be, they say it was different. For me, it's always had this kind of tone, but it has become more sensationalistic for sure. The more aggressive, the more clickbaity, the better, I guess. The more reaction it generates. Similar to what we do on Churros. When you get me all fired up and my emotions boil over, and then it culminates to Madridistas getting to the keyboards. Ah!
Yeah, so I've always known about it because of my trips to Spain. My cousin was always watching it late night on the TV, and I would watch with him.
Yeah,
and
your cousin, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, I always thought of it as this like garbage TV. But in the past year or so, really since the Tic Tac saga of last summer, I've started to appreciate what it is, and it's to me now it's WWE. It's just entertainment, and I actually have started to appreciate more that kind of. It's not like my favorite kind of journalism, but from entertainment value, I've started to appreciate it a little bit more. I think
Right.
there was a line like to me like Skip Bayless is the line that he actually like, insults people. That's the line I don't resonate with. But if it's just pure entertainment like this, I kind of like it. Anyway, so El Chiringuito.
Oh, they insult. They're horribly. They're very insulting.
Yeah, they cross
They
the line.
put out. Yes,
they really actually insult the players, they insult the players, and I don't like that.
Sorry, I thought you were saying they don't insult. I thought you were going into that.
No,
direction.
I'm saying like this. I'm saying like the Skip Bayless first take. Shannon Sharp not so much, but Skip Bayless himself is definitely the guy who crosses the line and to me loses a little bit of respect and credibility because of that. Because there's entertainment and then there's just respect. But anyways, El Chiringuito in English, my favorite Twitter account now, posted last night. Alfredo Duro, who I don't even know who this guy is until I saw this clip, but
Alfredo Duro is I was going to say Madridista legend.
Okay, so Alfredo Duro has this incredible clip in this video, 36 seconds long, where he's just going on a rant, saying that he's tired of speaking about Barcelona and levers, and he says, respect to the champion. We have to talk about Real Madrid. We never talk about Real Madrid, respect to the champion. That's how I feel. I was like, God damn it, Alfredo Duro. I respect the message. I like that because, man, nobody's talking about us. I'm not used to this feeling. Where's our drama? Where's our, like, maybe what do we got to do to get some people to talk about us?
Amen.
Well, how many champions have we got to talk about? We got to win some Jean Campers to get some people to talk about us, man. Tomorrow,
Listen.
The champions of Europe play against the champions of Europa League, and it's not even news.
No one gives a shit.
No, it's not even news.
Not news. I actually forgot. Yeah, well, is this the European Super Cup, huh? Where is it being played?
Helsinki. This is fun. You want to hear a funny tweet? So as of right now, I'm not actually doing my job. Ewan is doing my job. He's covering the press conference. Ancelotti has a press conference happening right now. And Ewan just tweeted as we're recording, Ancelotti has just been asked in the press conference for his thoughts on Finnish football. And I've never seen his eyebrow go that high. I would love to know what the answer actually was. I'm very curious to know what his quote was about Finnish football after
Hey, man, when Busi got... That's a good one. When Busi got asked about Inter Miami, he threw some knowledge out there. He was like, "Yeah, I follow the MLS," and he talked about how they're in the mid-table and how they're kind of struggling, but hopefully they'll finish ninth and make it to the playoffs. And I think all the journalists were kind of like, "Oh shit, he clearly knows his shit." He talked about, I think, Palacio, who just signed with Inter. Anyway, yeah. That's I would love that description of you and of the eyebrow never going that high. It must have been like up, like cartoonish high, just up here.
Yeah,
just like
very curious to see what the answer was. So that's just something I wanted to say. We got. I think we have.
What do you want to talk about in the world of Madrid?
So this is what I wanted to say this about Real Madrid. Tell me, is this quote true? I saw this on Facebook today. That's why I'm questioning if it's true or not. Did Xavi say that Barcelona are the best team in the world? All right, he didn't. Or maybe you didn't see it. I don't know. Or maybe he was taken out of context.
Show me. I mean...
No, it was just on some Facebook page. It's just the algorithm is showing me really stupid stuff these days. So I don't know. I didn't even have time to look at it further.
I mean, look, for us, Barca will be... of course, for me, Barca is the best in the world, the best team in the world. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, on what grounds? Your signings?
For me personally, Barca is the best for me.
Like in the way that that your teddy bear was the best teddy bear in the world growing up, your mom is the best mom in the world, like that?
Correct.
That I understand. Yes. No, but I'm talking about like factual who is the best team in the world. You don't believe that, do you?
Oh. Well, clear. I mean, we are not defending champions of anything at the moment, so we have to prove once again that we are the best in the world. Yeah.
So here's my stance about Real Madrid, because to be fair, a lot of Real Madrid fans are talking about Real Madrid quite a bit.
He said that. So he said what you said when he was on his presentation, November 8th, 2021. He said, "Somos el mejor equipo del mundo."
Oh, it's an old quote.
And he was it's an old quote. On his presentation, he was clearly alluding or saying it in a way that you just very nicely described, saying that your mom's the best mom in the world. That's the context of it. Yeah,
fair if you want to spin it that way. So my what I wanted to say about Real Madrid is that getting lost in all of this, and despite many Real Madrid fans panicking about lack of signings, I think Real Madrid are going to be better than they were last season. I can't stress this enough. I think this is going a little bit... I kind of like the fact that we're going under the radar. We're just quiet, no drama, just doing our thing, putting our heads down and doing our work. I think while I think the league will be better next season, for example, Barcelona will be better, I think Real Madrid are also going to be better. And I think we're going to be better structured defensively. And I really like our team. And I think we're going to be able to generate more chances offensively next season. I actually think... Now, I don't know what that means in terms of trophies and stuff, because sometimes the ball may not bounce your way, and it doesn't necessarily mean you were the best or not the best or whatever, but I think we'll be a better team next season, and I'm really happy with our team, and I just wanted to say that. In a way, I think maybe going under the radar is to our benefit, but just getting lost in all this hysteria, that needed to be said.
Well, here. All Madridistas I can hear a big sigh of relief on all of our listeners.
Your dad has spoken.
Madrid will be better. I concur. I have no doubt that I don't know how historically and statistically Ancelotti's second seasons. Well, this will be a second of a second, right? So, how many seasons was he in his first stint? 3?
2. And what's interesting about his second season last time was that if you're a process-oriented person and not a results-oriented person, many people actually argue that his second season team was superior than the first team that won La Decima. But the reality of the second season was that we lost Xabi Alonso, we did not have a defensive midfielder, and we got tired at the end. Modric had a long-term injury, and we lost to Juve in the semifinal. That was the year, if you remember, Diego, Real Madrid went on a crazy unbeaten run and set a record in the league with an unbeaten run. And it was the year where he had Kroos, Modric, James, and Isco together, those 4 midfielders. And it was a very high-pressing team, a team that was really fun to watch, but then it just kind of broke down and we didn't have depth. But then he got sacked because of it.
Yeah.
And Benitez came in, savior Rafa Benitez, who told Modric not to use the outside of his foot. So... his second stint, purely based on process and not results, was actually pretty good. If we're being fair, so what I'm curious about this second version, I think it's going to be a more aggressive team, offensively and with their press as well, because I think he has some depth in midfield and legs to sustain it. Because his excuse not to press last season was that he couldn't ask Modric and Kroos to do that for 90 minutes. But now he has Camavinga, Tchouaméni, and Fede Valverde and Ceballos to do that. So I think it's going to be a good season. And I just want to say this. We did a roundtable at Managing Madrid. We all were asked to talk about our unsung hero of the season, who we think it's going to be. And I put Dani Ceballos. I think Dani Ceballos is going to be an important contributor next season. So just book it.
I like it. I've always raved about Ceballos. Loved him at Betty, loved him for the Spanish national side in several games, and kind of obviously went under my radar at Arsenal. But yeah, if he starts going, and he's a great football player, very talented. I would like to know that. I mean, I kind of wish I knew Ancelotti's second seasons at clubs, at Chelsea, at Milan, at Bayern. Be interesting.
I'd be curious to know how the team responds. Ancelotti himself doesn't have a great track record in the league. Has a great Champions League record, obviously, but in the league,
in second seasons,
just in general, like he doesn't win many league titles to the ratio of Champions League titles and the amount of good teams he's managed domestically in Italy and England. I mean, in England, he won with Chelsea, I think.
He won Chelsea.
Yeah. But so generally speaking, though, we have a question from Taps that we forgot to take last week that I think we should take. And it's basically asking us who we think has had the best summer outside the big three. Here's my take on it. I think it's been a relatively quiet transfer window in the league so far. There hasn't been many significant moves. Isco coming in as Sevilla is interesting. I think that's going to be fun to see Isco play again regularly, especially under Lopetegui. Having said that, Sevilla also lost their
He has to convince Sevilla fans, huh? Already on his presentation, he's like, look, I can still play. I swear.
By the way,
I did it.
I believe him. Like, if you watched him play this last season for Real Madrid, even though it was limited minutes, as soon as he came in, he played well. His touches were neat and tidy. He was a good vertical player. I like what I saw from him in limited minutes. I 100% believe he can play. The thing with Sevilla, too, is they lost their 2 starting center backs, and I don't know how they're going to cope with that. We'll see. Knowing Sevilla, they'll just, whoever it is, they'll just be amazing, and then they'll sell that player for like 100 million next season or something. The other one that stands out is Getafe. So Getafe brought Mayoral back, and I just want to get the full list. Scrolling down to the Getafe section. Mayoral in, Luis Milla in, Domingos Duarte in, Jaime Seoane in on a free transfer, Castilla product, Porto in, and then a couple other players, Fabrizio Aguilera from River Plate. I think they probably have a case for the best outside the top 3. But it's been quiet. My overall point, though, it's been pretty quiet. It hasn't been like, lights out transfers for La Liga.
I think you got to put Valencia in there. I feel like every season I'm like the biggest Valencia supporter, more than
yeah, of course, because they
Valencia
just give you
fans themselves.
And they reject us.
But there's nothing done yet. But in the case of Nico, he is heavily linked currently with perhaps a loan to Valencia. I don't know. That would be, I think, a very good pickup. Although I hope myself, I don't know how Nico will play under Gattuso. I was kind of hoping that if Nico would go out on loan, it would be like to an Ajax, maybe a Betis. I would love him under Pellegrini. I don't know about Gattuso. Anyway, but I think Valencia, I read somewhere, and I don't know if this is true, that they're looking for Brahim Gil to come to join the squad. I think that would be nice.
They need a winger after losing Guedes, too. By the way, I was looking at Guedes.
Right, and Guedes exactly is gone.
He's such a Wolves type player. Like, I think that's such a perfect fit for him. Counter-attacking football. If he can stay healthy. I didn't realize he was only 25. He's still young. He's got a lot of football left if he can stay healthy.
He's very young.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Man, when he left PSG for Valencia, I mean, they paid like 50 something million for him as well. I mean, he was obviously in his early 20s, early 20s. That was what, like 5 seasons ago? 5 seasons?
Something like that.
Yeah, he would have been 20 or something. Other than that, I mean, Betty, they managed to hold on to, who was it? Mierda.
Are we still talking about Valencia?
No, I said Betis.
Oh, Betis.
They managed to hold on to. Here we go, Churros moment. Call it out there. Churros. Alex Moreno, joder. No, he actually just. Oh, no, he left.
Didn't he say he was staying on social media or something?
Se queda? Yeah, I thought that he was staying.
I saw yesterday that there was a whole thing on social media where he said he wants to stay, but I don't remember what happened. Yeah, he said no to Nottingham Forest. We're getting that right.
He said no to Nottingham. Okay, all right.
Well, so
it's been quiet, and I got not much more to add, my friend.
That's all we got. We can revisit this at the end of the transfer window to see if there's any surprising moves.
Yes.
As of right now, what percentage would you put on Bernardo Silva?
Uh,
20%?
I don't know.
All right.
No, I don't know. I'll be right down in the middle, I think, on this one right now.
All right, 50-50?
Based on what? Yeah.
Let's see how many levers have to be activated by then. Just even without Bernardo Silva, I wouldn't be surprised if we see more reports. Also, these, I have to admit, again, it goes over my head. Like, I was looking at the fact that they've pulled the fourth lever reportedly, I think today.
Yeah. Yeah.
But from what I understand, that's actually just basically the first lever, but the rest of it. Because when do you know what I mean? Because when they first outlined this, they said they were going to.
It goes to another owner. It's not the same person buying these rights. So they're looking for another.
But what I mean is, like, they had like originally said, okay, this is the percentage total that we would pull over four levers. So we pulled 10% of it. And now, like, it just keeps being pulled. I don't know if it's like a new lever or if it's the same lever being pulled more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Enough, Barcelona, man. I'm so done. I'm so done talking about your team.
No, you're not. This is your weekly fix. But how can you like complain about not talking enough about Real Madrid when you talk about him on a podcast like once a day? How many pods do you do?
5 to 6, I'd say, a week.
All you do is talk about Madrid. What are you complaining about?
I want other people to talk about us. It's one thing for me to talk about myself. I want other people to talk about me.
You've got Marca. Dude. It's like, don't worry, because all of your media outlets are having a field day. Continuing, you talk about smear campaigns, continuing to smear my club through the ground at will. Shots are being fired from all sides, my friend, and it's nonstop. And I gotta say, it's tense and it's uncomfortable and it's stressful. And you know exactly why I'm saying that. I wish for more calmer times.
So, Lucas Navarrete and I, we have a thing where we both have agreed that if Bernardo Silva goes to Barcelona, it means that he was attainable, and that makes us angry that Real Madrid didn't go for him. And Lucas, I just ate some of my beard. Lucas messaged me when the initial Silva report happened this morning and said he thinks there's a conspiracy that Florentino is allowing this to happen because if Barcelona are good, that's good for his Super League agenda. Because he wants all the stars in the top two, so that they have more leverage and more pull on the Super League.
Here's a plot twist. Frankie signs for Madrid. Would you take Frankie?
If he signed, he should sign the 2020 contract with us, not this one.
I was just gonna say, take him for 20 mils a year.
We're stacked in that position. Otherwise, I would. If it was, who could we take off you that would actually help us? Why do you want Bernardo Silva? Well, because Bernardo Silva, we could stick on the right wing.
So you're not. Wait. Rafinha. I mean, you guys in the right wing. You got Rodrigo. What? Give the guy a chance, man. Give the guy a chance. Hey, Rafinha's nice. Rafinha's nice. Have you watched anything of Barca?
Nice.
He's not. He was 48 million. Stop saying he's 65. It was 48. It was reported by Marca. He was 48.
No, but you're not including the variables, though.
That's 10. Okay, fine. 58 if he like wins 5 Champions Leagues and a Ballon d'Oro. Fine. Right. 48 million. Start putting it out there.
Next week you're gonna say Managing it was 5 million next week.
No, Marca said this. I'm not saying that. It's Marca reporting it. Here we go. More fuel for your minions. Listen.
We like Marca's reporting when it suits her.
Have you watched anything of Rafinha?
Yeah. I like him.
Be honest.
No, I have. I like him. He's a good player. I actually, funny enough, I watch him. I watch him more for Brazil. But you would rather have Leeds.
Okay.
I'd rather.
So a Pedri wouldn't interest you. You guys are fine in the midfield. You don't want Pedri.
No.
You don't want a Gavi. You don't want.
No.
You don't want a Lewandowski.
No.
He was never in talks with Madrid. Even though
he would have been if we didn't have Benzema.
But, so a Koundé, you're not interested in any of our new central defenders. Interesting. Okay. So well, that's it then. I mean, like,
I'm trying to think.
Like, if you're not interested in anybody in the front line, in the middle or in the back. That's anyone on the bench that can a Braithwaite. You want just a bench warmer?
Aubameyang would be a nice Benzema backup.
Okay.
Who else?
So you're looking for backups here.
Araujo. Love that guy.
And Ansu doesn't it? So you're interested in central defenders?
Well, I would just stick. The thing is, no, we don't need central defenders, but I would like to have Araujo so I can have some security when Carvajal can't play. Even though he's not a pure right back.
You putting Carvajal over my Araujo. I'm about to stop this pod right now. Well, this is the end for me.
Carvajal is the greatest right back in club history, probably. He's a prolific Champions League winner. On his day, the best right back in the world. Incredible defender.
In Real Madrid history. In Real Madrid history. Okay. Carvajal, man. Over Araujo. Get out of here. Come on.
No.
Get out of here.
Talk to me in 12 years if you want to have a debate on it, but now you can't. There's no way.
Right now, I'm saying right now, you're approaching the summer transfer market, and you're saying you're putting a Carvajal over. You're picking Carvajal over a young, vibrant, dynamic, energetic, healthy, strong,
Carvajal
fast.
Just locked down Luis Diaz in the Champions League final. Was instrumental to our title.
Okay,
if he stays healthy, he's a beast. Listen, I'd have to think about it more, but yeah, if you guys have a backup striker or a backup right back and a backup right wing, we'll take him. Can you set up the outro for us and explain the instrumentals?
The instrumental is what you heard before, intro beats coming at you. And again, I'm going to be providing all of the information of this fine producer from Iceland. So talented. Go give him a follow. Listen to the music. So he's originally very much a hip-hop, jazz-based producer. However, with time now, he sort of expanded his repertoire and his making abilities. Now he's more into the electronic scene now. So if hip-hop is not of your acquired taste, not of your liking, and you're more into the electronic scene, check him out. He's making some nice, chill house songs as well. He's just very talented, man. I can't pay him enough respects.
Beautiful. All right, we're gonna set this up with the outro instrumentals and enjoy it. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Thanks, Diego. We'll catch you on Friday over on patreon.com/Managing Madrid. Also, follow us on Twitter at Churros Tácticas. It gets so spicy that we have to delete tweets sometimes, but it's there. If you get there just in time before they're deleted, it's pretty hot. So follow us there. Follow us on Patreon, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks, guys. Peace.